Here's why you play Brody, the lone star in the gold lane. First off, Brody possesses high burst damage, allowing him to take down enemies quickly, especially when stacking his marks. His abilities give him exceptional mobility, making him a tough adversary in both the laning phase and team fights. Brody also benefits from long attack range, allowing him to poke enemies safely from a distance. However, his lower attack speed can make him vulnerable in prolonged engagements, and he is somewhat skill dependent, requiring good timing and positioning to maximize his effectiveness. Brody's passive ability, Abyss Corrosion, allows him to move while winding up for his basic attack, which deals significant physical damage and applies stacks of Abyss Mark on enemies. Each stack increases Brody's damage and movement speed, making him more lethal the longer the fight goes on. The movement speed bonus helps Brody reposition quickly, but the longer basic attack animation requires careful timing and positioning. You should use the movement speed boost from your passive to kite enemies and maintain a safe distance while attacking. Brody's skill 1, Abyss Impact, launches a shockwave in a designated direction, dealing damage, slowing enemies, and applying stacks of Abyss Mark. The shockwave becomes more powerful as it hits more enemies, increasing its damage, slowing effects, and mark stacks. This skill is excellent for poking and controlling the wave, as well as for setting up combos with his other abilities. You should aim at this impact through multiple enemies to maximize its damage and slow effects, especially in team fights. Brody's skill 2, Corrosion Strike, dashes to an enemy, dealing damage, stunning them, and applying a stack of Abyss Mark. After hitting the target, Brody can drag the joystick to dash in the direction, gaining a burst of movement speed. This skill provides excellent mobility and crowd control, making it ideal for engaging or disengaging in fights. Use Corrosion Strike to dash in, apply a stun, and then reposition with the second dash to avoid retaliation or chasing down fleeing enemies. Brody's ultimate, Torn Apart Memory, locks onto all marked targets within range and deals damage based on the number of Abyss Marks on them. This skill resets all Abyss Marks, dealing additional damage based on the target's lost HP. It is a powerful finisher, capable of wiping out low health enemies or turning the tide of a team fight. You should save Torn Apart Memory for when enemies have multiple stacks of Abyss Mark to maximize its burst damage and secure kills. Moving on to builds, I suggest building Tough Boots, Blade of the Heptases, Malefic Roar, Wind of Nature, Blade of Despair, and Immortality. These are the emblems that go along with this build. As per usual, I suggest more experienced players to build items depending on the enemy team's composition instead of using a pre-built setup to maximize your win rate. As for battle spells, Flicker is a top choice for Brody, providing additional mobility to either engage or escape. Purify can also be useful with the enemy team as heavy crowd control that could lock him down. You should upgrade skill 1 at level 1 and prioritize upgrading skill 1 with skill 2 as backup. Upgrade the ultimate whenever it is available. Moving on to tips and tricks. Brody's playstyle revolves around positioning, timing, and stacking Abyss Marks on enemies before unleashing his ultimate. In the early game, focus on poking the enemy laner with Abyss Impact to build up marks and slowly chip away at their health. Use Corrosion Strike to engage or disengage as needed, but be mindful of this skill's cooldown. Once enemies have multiple stacks of Abyss Mark, unleash his ultimate to finish them off. Remember, Brody's lower attack speed means you will need to be precise with your attacks, prioritize positioning and movement to avoid getting caught out in extended fights. In team fights, stay on the outskirts and use your range to apply marks to multiple enemies before using your ultimate to maximize its impact. With all these tips and tricks and this guide, you will definitely rise the ranks and gain that sweet victory.